Hi, I'm the old geek guy, Gary, and I hope you're having a really great day today. On this video, I'm going to probably expand on what my very first video talked about, which is my MD and my ION. MD is macular degeneration, and ION is ischemic optical neuropathy. And I'll tell you what both are in a little bit, and I know what you probably do know a lot about it already. My biggest concern is the symptoms I've had at least 3 years ago that was the start of this macular degeneration from different stages, and how it progressed to the point where I finally had to start getting injections in my eyes, both eyes as a matter of fact. So mainly for those who have limitations that are getting further limitations on your eyes or may not have them yet, and you may have something in the future. We'll talk about that a little bit as we go along. So let's get right into it. By the way, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you please. I really would like that. And also the like button, the little thumbs up button. And the reason why is that I know that you really like it, and it's something that's content that you enjoyed, and I can keep doing these things. Thanks again. We'll get right into it. Now, my macular degeneration started probably 3 years ago. And of course, I didn't know what the symptoms meant or what they were, but I'll tell you a couple of things that I had. I noticed that when I got into darker rooms, I don't mean pitch black rooms, but I mean darker rooms, and I'll give you an example in a minute. I couldn't see nearly as well. In fact, I was almost totally blind in a very dark room. At Disneyland, which I've gone to quite a bit, at Disneyland, in some of the areas, for instance, the entrances to Indiana Jones, if you're familiar with Disneyland here in California, Indiana Jones has a long queue line. Actually, it's a long hallway just to get to the cars that you're going to get into, and of course go around the ride itself. But these long hallways are there because they kind of have interest, and of course the idea was to keep the line long and also interested in what you're doing. But many areas there where they have those lines were dark rooms. And I was almost totally blind, and I had to ask the people who were in front of me and back of me where I am and what's going on. And when my daughter and her husband would go, I would put my hand on her shoulder because I couldn't see where I was going. And the same thing happened in the castle. Believe it or not, the castle has a stairway going up from the bottom of the castle into the castle, and you can go up and look in the rooms and so on and so forth, but they're all very dark, and it was the same problem. I couldn't see. Well, unbeknownst to me, that was one of the preliminary signs of macular degeneration. The second thing I noticed was the waviness of vertical lines. Give you an example, two examples as a matter of fact. First, vertical blinds like that. When I see the vertical blinds, this is probably about 2 years ago, I would see a little bit of a waviness in those vertical lines, kind of a waviness like that. Another place I saw that was, if you've ever noticed on escalators that are automatically go up escalators, they have slots at the bottom. They aren't just flat, they have slots. And I noticed when I would look down at those slots, I'd get the same thing, these little wavy lines that I would see, especially with this right eye. And so those two things were really the preliminary parts of, or symptoms of, macular degeneration. To be honest with you, I just recently read up on that, and nobody ever told me. So why would you ever suspect anything except that I'm getting old? And I am. But that was just one thing. So as time went by, my macular degeneration started out as dry MD. There's two times, dry and wet. Dry MD, they really can't do a lot with. They don't give you injections, they don't give you anything. They do recommend certain vitamins for it. Even the doctors and optometrists will recommend certain vitamins that can help, but they don't really stop it, obviously. So dry MD is something that goes on for a long period of time, and that's what I had at the very beginning, was dry MD, until about December of 2019. In December of 2019, I noticed that my eye was beginning to have really bad vision, just right center of the eye. Just right center of the eye would be like a very heavy fog. Didn't affect my central vision yet. But it went in December, and I finally did go to an optometrist, not a retina specialist, but an optometrist. She did some examining of my eyes, and she noticed this in my eyes. And she was sharp enough to say to me, you know, I think you might have a little bit of MD, or macular degeneration. I'm going to send you to a specialist. And this specialist happened to be a retina specialist, and very fortunately, just 15 minutes away from the house. So I went to this specialist the first time, and she says, yes, it is macular degeneration, and I think we can at least stabilize it, if not make it better, by injections. And injections in my eye? Please, not that, not that. I was scared to death. I thought, nobody can give me an injection in my eye. I'm not going to go through that. But she reassured me that it really wasn't as bad as it sounds because there was no pain. Well, I don't know that until I actually get it done. So I did finally agree to do the injections into just eye only, my right eye only. And so I went to the appointment to get that injection, and sure enough, it was amazing, absolutely amazing to me how little, if any, there was no pain whatsoever, absolutely nothing. And the reason why is they start off, they give you anesthesia in your eye, they put some, I guess, Lidocaine or something into your eye, antibiotic, more painkiller, all this is eye drops. And then they put in a little Q-tip that has some painkiller on it too, and they put it in your eye. And all of this is to deaden the pain. It takes about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to deaden the pain in your eye. And then she comes with that needle and injection. You can't really see it. She says, look up to your left. And I do, and she goes, shh, shh, just like that, really fast. Absolutely no pain whatsoever. The only thing you feel is the pressure of the needle going in and a little bit of a pressure of the liquid, which is, interestingly enough, is a chemotherapy type liquid that they put in your eye that they found that it helps macular degeneration. So I started off like that, and then as time went on, she would always check my left eye too. My left eye was just dry MD, but it wasn't very serious, and so she said, well, just keep our eye on it, and so she did for about 6 or 7 months. And then 2 months ago, no, I won't say that, 2 times ago, 2 sessions ago, she started with my left eye as well. So I do a left eye, wait 3 weeks, do my right eye, wait 3 weeks, do my left eye, and I alternate like that every 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks, and yes, for the rest of my life, I have to do these injections. I don't mind, I don't like it. I get a little anxious every time the date comes up, a couple of days before I get thinking about it, and I really don't like to do it. But again, I remember, there's no pain. It's not that bad. The only other thing that I have to suffer that day after she does the injection, I do it in the morning, that day, it takes about probably 6 hours for my eye to clear up, because all what she's putting in there actually makes everything very, very blurry. I can't see out of that eye at all. And also because she puts in dilation to dilate my eyes, special drops even beforehand. And so it takes a while for my eye to recover during that day. However, I'm fortunate because the next day, I have no feeling and no pain, nothing at all, no stinginess. I get stinginess in the eye later on in the afternoon for all the junk that they put in my eye. But that's all gone by the next day, and it's like nothing ever happened. I'm fortunate because a lot of people go 2 or 3 days before they can really feel good in that eye. I'm just just overnight, and I'm fine. Now, my ION, ischemic optical neuropathy, which means ischemic, which means they really don't know. It's kind of unknown why it happens. Optical means eye, and neuropathy means like a stroke. You have a stroke in your eye, a mini stroke. And the reason why is, and this is interesting, the reason why is, and there really isn't any way to control this, it just happens. The reason why you get these strokes is because at night, your blood pressure goes down. Well, my blood pressure went down so far that the tiny vessels, blood vessels that were in my eye were shut off. And so a lot of the cells around the retina, and of course the outside of the macula and so on and so forth, died. And so what I actually saw, or didn't see, better yet, was a blurriness in the center, and above I had no peripheral vision above, and I still don't have very much above, and to my left of my eye. All I had was a little bit of vision lower right of this eye, and in this eye I had almost full vision. There was a little bit here inside that I didn't have, but I didn't even notice it because you don't see peripheral vision on this side of your right eye into your nose. But that's what happened to me. So I went to the doctor thinking I had a fallen retina. which is very, very treatable. All they do is they put, again, injection in your eye with a little bubble to push that retina back up and in place, and then they leave it in there, and the retina, of course, takes hold again. And that's very simple. I thought, well, I'll just go to the doctor. I won't have a problem. I go to my doctor, my primary doctor. You have to do that with an HMO here in California, and also with the Advantage Medicare that I have. I go to the primary doctor, and he immediately sends me to a optometrist, and of course the optometrist determined exactly what I had, and he told me what I had, and I said, oh good, so what's the remedy? And he told me there isn't any. First of all, there's no way to prevent it, and there's no remedy. A lot of people have this, quote unquote, I've never heard of it before in my life, a lot of people have this, and they have to live with it, and that was probably 7 years ago, I guess. And I'm going to be putting up a picture of what the eye, how they determine it. And maybe you've been through that before, where you have a little button in your hand and you look through a special machine and you try and see where the dots are by just looking straight ahead, not looking up or around, just looking straight ahead to see where your peripheral vision is and what part of your eye is blinded. And of course I had it right pretty much top center and all the way at the top and some to the side in this left eye here. So I have, in my left eye, I have IOM and I have MD, both in my left eye. And so that really limits me a lot. I don't drive. I'm very careful even when I walk because I don't see things, and I can't tell if something on the floor is actually a bug or a raisin. I have no idea. I have to get down really close. I can't read well at all unless they're very big letters because of the darkness and I'll call the blurriness, which has nothing to do with your correction, your eye correction for glasses. The blurriness is just part of MD and ION, combination of both. So those are some of the limitations I have, and that's why I'm happy to have technology that really helps me, and that's why I talk about this technology as we go along in these different series. Again, the purpose of me doing this particular video is to help you to see that your body is telling you something when there's something wrong. Even your eyes are telling you something. The darkness that I had, I couldn't see in dark places at all, in the little wavy lines that it began to do. At any rate, I hope this helps some of you. I hope you take advantage of going to a doctor when there's something wrong with your eyes or anything else in your body, because your body tells you, your body talks to you in many different ways, and sometimes we just have to pay attention. So that's it for this particular session. I hope it worked out for you. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. This is Gary, the Old Geek Guy.